All right, in this video, I'm going to show you how to use a list in Python. Remember, we used a list in Thunkable when we put in a bunch of images, and then we chose a random image to display on the screen. So we're going to do that in Python, and my video is not going to include Turtle, but your assignment is to use what you just learned today and put that into Turtle. All right, let's get after it. So I'm going to create a function here that will create the list. So creating the list, I'll call it list create because that's a nice descriptive word for the function. Kind of makes sense. So we're going to create the list here. This is how you create a list in Python. We're going to call this the name list. So it's in a variable, just like we did in Thunkable. We initialized a variable. And to just make an empty list, I'm going to use the little hard brackets, open and closed. So that creates the list. Now I'm going to just put some random numbers in the list. Names, sorry. I'm going to put some random names in the list. So I'm going to say in my name list, I'm going to .append. Append means to add to the list. So I'm going to add the name Henry. And I'll add another name too. Let's see, name list dot append. I'll add the name Josie. And I'll add one more name. And then I'm going to ask the user to append or to add. So I'll append Hank. Okay. Now that could get tedious if we just do that over and over ourselves. Let's see if we can get the user to do some stuff. So I'm going to create a loop where I in range, I'm just going to ask the user to append or to add 5 more names to this list. So I'll get some input, name input. Please enter a name. So I'm just going to give them that chance, and once they've entered that name, I'm going to append it to the list. So name list dot append the name input. So whatever it is they chose, I'm going to add it to the list. Okay, I'm going to back up out of the loop, and I'm going to print the name list just so we can see it when we're done. Okay, before we do anything else, we need to call the list create function to get it running. All right, so it already appended Henry, Josie, and Hank. We didn't get to see that, but it did it. So let's put in 5 more names. Okay, so now I printed the list, and you can see the list: Henry, Josie, Hank, Allie, George, Kathy, Terry, Christy. So those are the names I've added to the list. Great. I don't want to just print it though. I want to choose one of these randomly to tell them that this is the name they're going to use for their next puppy or whatever. Okay, so I'm going to take this function away, or this print statement away, because nobody wants to see it written out like that. And I'm going to create a new function. And in my new function is where I'm going to choose randomly. So I'm going to choosing a name at random and restart. Or let's call it a redo. So I will define this function. I will call it rando name, and it's a function. So we have not done anything with random yet in Python. So in order to use random at the very top, so when you're working with Turtle, you're going to have 2 imports at the top. You're going to have import Turtle so that you can use Turtle. And for the random choice, we have to import random as well. Okay, so those are 2 libraries in Python that have commands that we can use. Turtle creates the Turtle. Random lets us choose things at random. So I'm going to import Turtle, import random. Now in this random name, I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to call this rand name. Don't get confused. Don't name it the same. You cannot use rando name for the function and rando name for the variable. So make sure they're different. I'm going to say random.choice. So go choose a random thing from the name list. That's what this is saying. Go choose from the name list, get something randomly, and put it in this variable called randName. Okay, now I'm going to do a print statement that says the name of your new puppy should be. And then to combine these two things together, I'm going to put a plus sign, and I'm going to put randName in here. Okay, now the problem is we've got a couple problems here. We've created this function, but we haven't called it yet. And secondly, this is using nameList, but nameList wasn't created in the function. Namelist was created in listCreate. So just like in the last video, we have to pass that list to the next function. So we'll call randoName, and we're going to pass nameList into it. So in randoName, I need to make sure I accept that name list so that I can use it. All right, let's give it a try. I'm going to run this, see how it works. We're going to enter some random names. And so the name of your new puppy should be Christy. Great. But what if they don't like that? I mean, who wants a puppy named Christy? So let's ask the user if they want to choose a different one. So let's say, again, would you like to choose again? Okay, so they'll decide, I kind of like that name, we're going to go with it or not. So if again dot lower is equal to yes, then we will just call the randoName function again and make sure we pass the name list into it so it can use it. If they say no, then we'll say have fun with your new puppy named and finally if they say something other than yes or no, we're going to say, well, I'll choose another one for you anyway. And we'll just send them back to the top. Don't forget to pass name list or whatever you're passing. All right, let's run this now. We should have the opportunity to do this a couple times. So let's put these names back in. The name of your new puppy should be Kathy. Oh, that's a pretty good name. But let's try again. Henry, do you like that? Would you like to choose again? I think I'm good. So we're done. Okay, that's it.